Hi, today I'm gonna show you how to make Kadai Paneer, and for that we need cheese and we need any kind of bell pepper of your preference. Um, I happen to have red bell pepper. First I'm gonna show you how to cube it. So for that you gently go where the stem is by keeping your knife rocking up and down and moving your bell pepper side to in the circle. Off comes the stem, discard that, then cut the bottom. So then we go on the top, cut this round flower like shape like slice, and then we go by the sides, cut it where it's connected to the seeds. Basically we are trying to disconnect the seed part from the main vegetable, and this is what it should look like. Usually seeds are a little bit on the spicier side, so I tend to leave them out of the dish. So I'm going to use the chopper. You don't have to use the chopper, you can chop the cubes with the hand, but it makes my life a little bit easier, so I like to, but it's your personal preference. I'm cutting it to the size which will fit the blades of the chopper. And this is with Vedelia Chop Wizard chopping machine from Bed Bath and Beyond. Amazon also sells it, but it comes with the two different size of blades. One is for dicing and another one is for mincing. So we don't need the mincing one right now, so I'm using the cubes one. I'm also going to turn on the gas stove now. I'm going to take out all the, actually I'll leave it in the thing itself. Let me take it out in the plate. You can see all the bell peppers are uniformly chopped into cubes. I'm going to pour in some of the oil to fry the bell peppers, and I'm also going to fry the cheese. For that I'm going to cube the cheese as well in the same machine. This is a homemade cheese, and I will post the recipe for the homemade cheese soon. As you can see, the cheese is cubed as well. So the oil is nice and hot. I'm going to first fry the bell peppers. Once they are done, I'm gonna take them out and then fry the cheese for a few seconds. Keep stirring intermittently. It should take 3 to 4 minutes. We don't want the bell peppers to be mushy. We want them to have little bit of tenderness to them. So I have been cooking the bell peppers for 3-4 minutes and they look perfect. I'm gonna take them out on a plate. Drain as much oil as you can. Now I'm going to fry the cheese. Gently pour it in. Cheese doesn't have to be in the oil for more than 3-4 minutes. It just has to be toasted gently for just 1 or 2 minutes because it gets chewy, really chewy, if you toast it for a little longer than 3. If you toast it and fry for 3-4 minutes. So only 1 or 2 minutes is good enough time. All the cheese is out. So now I'm going to get some of the oil out because oil is too much and I don't need that much oil. Heat the pan after frying the cheese and the bell peppers. You can use either ghee or refined oil or canola oil. I'm using 1 teaspoon of ghee. Let it melt. Once it's melted, then I'm going to add ginger and garlic. I minced the ginger and garlic using the very fine grater. And ginger and garlic doesn't need to be toasted for a long time, just 10 or 15 seconds. Then I will add pureed onions. Once the onions are translucent, we will add all the spices. And for spices I have 1 teaspoon of salt, half teaspoon of garam masala, half teaspoon, little more than half teaspoon, like 3/4 teaspoon of roasted cumin powder, and I have half teaspoon of dhania powder, 1/4 teaspoon of red chili powder. In goes all the spices. Mix well. Now I will add turmeric powder, and I need half teaspoon of turmeric powder. I added, this is a small spoon, so I added half teaspoon of, this is half teaspoon size, so I'm adding half teaspoon of turmeric powder. I'm going to give it a mix. Ideally you're supposed to put more oil, since we fried the bell peppers and cheese, and it has a lot of oil, so I'm not putting any more oil. This is the tomato puree, and I also put about 10 to 12 cashews while I was pureeing the tomatoes. It gives very rich and creamy taste to the gravy. Mix well. Now we'll have to cook it till the oil separates. We will see the small oil droplets on the top of the tadka, and since we have very little oil, so sometimes it doesn't show, but the tadka will be very, very fragrant, and it will be dry and start leaving the sides of the pan. So that's how we know that it's done. So as you can see, there's teeny tiny bit droplets on the side. Now the tadka is ready. I have a bowl full of homemade yogurt, and it's at room temperature, and I broke all the lumps and turned it into creamy texture by mixing it well with the spoon. And I'm going to add this and quickly keep on moving the yogurt, because yogurt tends to turn into cheese kind of texture if it's not stirred constantly after putting it in, and it can also splatter, so be careful. Keep mixing. You can make the gas stove little slow or medium. Once it comes to the boil, then you can increase the heat if you need to for cooking. So as you can see, the gravy has come to a boil, so I simmer it down a bit, and now we are ready to add the fried veggies. And you can keep the gravy less or more according to your liking. I really like the taste of this creamy rich gravy. That's why I made it more than what the recipe might call for. So it's my personal preference. You can add less yogurt, you will have less gravy. For the seasoning the tadka, I had half of the onion and I had 2 of the tomatoes, and they were small size tomatoes. If you have a large size tomato, one should be good. And now we are gonna simmer it down to 3 or 4, and we will check back on it after few minutes, and I'm going to cover it. Since all the veggies were cooked already, so we don't have to cook them for a long time. I just cooked them for 3-4 minutes. Intermittently I kept checking, and